So I don't even know if I actually got the slate up before I turned it on because I hit the start before that. But this is how we're starting off our Wednesday. My name is Jay Clifton Payne. Before I turned it on because I hit the start before that. But this is how we're starting off our Wednesday. My name. Starting off with myself talking double, had the preview on the side, and it just started yakking yak. So at least I got one viewer. That's me. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne. Thank you so much for being a part of the show this morning. The show being things you might not have heard for August the 10th, 2022. Wearing a shirt, but trust me, we're still, flying solo down at the bottom. I am here to give you a couple of things, about 9 stories today, to get your water cooler talk, your coffee talk, your chat talk off to a good start of things that are interesting enough to talk about because you guys told us they're interesting. Unfortunately, the first 7 are all really, really, really bad. The 8th one's kind of iffy, but there's good news at the end. We end this thing on some good news, plus some extra things, including some birthdays and a fun fact to go out on the door with. So thank you for joining us for this program. Stop by our main website, which is conversationproject.com for more details on what we do on a regular basis and how you can help keep the lights on, literally and figuratively here. I just realized I don't even have my lights on properly. It's going to be all sorts of Wednesday for this Wednesday. So let's kick things going. We got a little crawl going right there, helps out with partnerships. And let's go ahead and get into the news story, which I've already told you will all be pretty horrible. Let's start off with this one right here. Burning body found hanging from tree in Griffith Park is apparent suicide. Original headline was body found hanging in Griffith Park. This happening in Los Angeles where a burning body was hanging from a tree in the park. That is apparent suicide. This link comes from the Los Angeles Times, so click on the link to go deeper into the story. Like I said, everything is bad news today, or everything but a few. And so we're just going to kind of wean ourselves into these things piece by piece, line by line. But this is a story that of course, this is the top earning story, top engaging story we had, and we posted late-ish in the evening yesterday as they're getting more details of it. And of course, the headline changed a few times as they got more details. First, it was just a hanging body. Then the body was burned, and then the burning body was apparently a self-inflicted wound and suicide apparent in the park. More details to come as they go deeper into the story. But if this is something that interests you because it's regional or just something that interests you, you can check it out as well. We also use this case as a way to remind you folks, and I have to actually upgrade the slate because of the new 988, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, Lifeline, at 800-273-8255. I've not updated it since they have the new 988 service, so I have to update that for that. But if you feel like you're in a sad place, I always say at the end of these things, to stay limber, stay hydrated, stay on task. That's the whole part about basically knowing that we need people to not let depression or not let the situations get them down and take them down. There's someone to talk to. 800-273-8255, suicidepreventionlifeline.org as well. Reach out for someone to help you through whatever's going on. And we'll know more details about this story as things go along. Britney Spears' ex-husband, I threw that in there, Kevin Federline interview won't air in full as it's too hurtful. Now, how do we know that Britney Spears is estranged from her boys? Because Kevin Federline did a big old tell-all interview, and it's about 10 years since they've actually divorced. So it's been that long since they've been together. So he did this big interview for this tabloid, and part of the interview was the fact that the boys aren't talking to Britney. Now the Britney people have spoken and they have basically squashed this interview because it is too hurtful. If this was someone else, it would have went ahead and went through and we got the big deals. If this were Trump, they'd be playing this 24/7, but it's Britney Spears. So are we being protective of Britney Spears, or is this just out of bounds, out of line, and Kevin Federline's just trying to get his pay in there just because of what's happening? You can be the judge of that on your own. You can't be the judge of the actual interview because you can't really see it because it ain't going out there. Check out the link in the description so you can go deeper into the story. But we know that Kevin Federline gave a pretty detailed tell-all about some information, and what they sprinkled out there was juicy enough to get people's attention. Unfortunately, it's also deemed basically too mean, too hurtful specifically to say those words out loud, apparently. Let's move on to the next story for this morning. Told you they're not great, the story. Street Outlaws star Ryan Fellows dies in car crash while filming race. Ryan Fellows, 41 years old, died in a car crash. He's the star of the Street Outlaws show, and he was filming literally for a race, filming some footage in the morning that was going to air later in the evening in a broadcast, in a show he was doing. So The people around his family, people around the race, people who are fans of the show are devastated of this news. You can send your thoughts and prayers and all sorts of things there. He also has a GoFundMe out there because that's what we do to basically help along the folks that he's left behind going through. I'm not sure what his actual financial situation is, but we do know that this is a tragic event. And this is one of those things that you just can't tell when it's going to happen. This is one of those hug your kids, kiss your wife, say I love you a couple times to all your friends, because you never know what might happen. This is a serious, never know what would happen situation here for the star of Street Outlaws. The Las Vegas Metro Police Department arrested former NFL running back Marshawn Lynch Tuesday on suspicion of driving under influence. This is bad. This is kind of sad, but being Marshawn Lynch, this is probably water off his back like a duck. He'll probably find some way to spin this and just kind of be the happy-go-lucky guy. Luckily, no one was injured in this little tirade, and he took his mugshot and everything was all fine and dandy. We're going to see what the actual charges go out there, but it's just one of the things where everybody loves Marshawn Lynch because he's just a lovable guy. This DUI, driving under influence, is a serious deal, so hopefully we'll get a chance to go through this on the serious note. He'll do some real apology, and this won't turn into a Marshawn Lynch joke or bring down his stature, because right now we need less famous people that we like to be turned to famous people we don't like. We need Marshawn Lynch to be Marshawn Lynch forever. Grand jury declines to indict woman in Emmett Till killing. Now, most of the stuff on this is based on the fact that this happened 70 years ago. And a long time going, why are we doing this stuff right now? Now, granted, we still hunt Nazis, so that is a thing. But the grand jury has declined not to indict the woman who gave the false statement that led to Emmett Till being lynched. It's just one of those things that we will live with. One of the really good things about history and learning more about bits and pieces of history, especially things that are kind of dark and not so great, is that it should bring together people in the now over the sins of the past, and people should be able to reconcile and go forward. Oddly enough, that's not happening in general anywhere. And that's me, Jay Cleveland Payne, making that statement right now. That's not happening very well in a general statement. There are, you may have friends, you may have people who kind of go with this. There may be the woke crowd that you run around with that deals with this. But unfortunately, as a nation specifically, and sometimes as a world, and I'm not in bits and pieces of the world at this point, we don't really get off on fixing things from the past or just understanding why they happen and moving forward. We just want to bury it in the past and just say, well, it happened. It's there. It's not my fault. That was my grandpappy, not me. The problem is there's a lot of things people are doing that look a lot like what the grandpappies did, but they're doing it in 2022. I'm just saying. The Flash star Ezra Miller charged with felony burglary in Vermont because he's a horrible person. Click the link and read more about that one. Albuquerque police arrest primary suspect in slayings of 4 Muslim men. This is a big one. This is a real big one. Over the past few weeks, there have been Muslim men who have been basically targeted, killed, shot in the streets. And there are Albuquerque police have a primary suspect, a guy they think they're going to they're putting all the weight on this going forward. Police Chief Harold Medina on Tuesday announced the update. What was going on? The killings are basically sending ripples, just waves through the Muslim community there in Albuquerque, where people are making sure they're home before dark. They're not going out in singles because they didn't know what was going on. Let's get the 4 names of 4 people who died. Naseem Hussain was from Pakistan. Also, Muhammad Afez Hussain, Afat Hussain. They were from Pakistan as well. And the other name is lost in the article, unfortunately. Sorry about that. But they have a suspect. They're pinning the idea that this is the person who is doing all the killings, all the terror, a Muslim as well. Let's not jump to conclusions. Let's get full details. The story we have here is not the update to the stories. So as we get updates to this, we will post them here. And of course, you will tell us whether they are worthy of talking about. This one was in range as a conversational story. So obviously, this is here. Let's move on to the next one. 2, which are better. First, Johnny Depp signs new deal with Dior to come back as face of Sauvage Cologne, which I will be honest, thought was Sausage Cologne, which I thought would be really, really funny. And speaking of sausage, Popeyes is rolling out 4 new menu items nationwide, including banana cream cake, also bringing back chocolate beignets. They're coming back with, let me get to the information. This is big. I don't chocolate beignets, banana cream cake. They're bringing back surf and turf and with a different iteration. And they're having hush puppy shrimp because hush puppy battered things are all the rage. I'm not sure why. I'm not a big fan of hush puppies, but they're battering everything in hush puppies now. And that's what we're doing. Popeyes on that bandwagon. Let's move on to our teaser story for tomorrow. Will we talk about this one tomorrow? Only you will decide. And that is Trump to be deposed Wednesday morning in New York Attorney General's probe in his business. Now, Trump was in New York a few days ago, just doing New York stuff, checking out what's going on, seeing his golf course, playing some golf up there in Jersey, and checking out Ivanka's grave, I guess. He actually was working with some attorneys, working with his lawyers, because he's about to be deposed today in New York City. So now we know what all the big work is. We'll see what happens in this one. Remember, the New York Attorney General is put on in the probe of how bad his businesses were ran. This has nothing to do with how bad he ran the country or how much money he made off running the country very badly. This is the business life prior to the Oval Office. So let's get that straight. For all the folks who hate Donald Trump for other things, let's make sure you got the hate focus on this one. This is about him being a bad business person in New York City for many years before he became a bad politician, bad president, and bad business person post-presidency. There. Make sure that's all straight. So now that we got this, you will tell us whether this story is worth chatting about because it's already posted. So you just engage in it through your feeds, check your feeds and see what's going on. More about the feeds in a bit. Right now, more about getting money into my pocket by getting fun and excitement and learning into your pocket with the Chess Store. The Chess Store may seem like an odd duck in the ways of sponsors we have here. But hear me out. Chess, one of the oldest games in humanity, one of the most strategic games out there, a game that takes a few minutes to learn because it's basically figuring out the pieces work, and then maybe a lifetime to master, and some people never actually do, trying their best to beat better people at chess or expand their chess knowledge, expand their chess world. The Chess Store has some of the best, most beautiful pieces you have out there. As the sign there says, looking for wood sets, metal theme sets, antique productions, plastic and travel, unique and luxury. They have chess sets and chess pieces for you. Put them on your mantle, put them on your coffee table, put them in your office, put them in your pocket, essentially, as you take them along your chest with you. All your chess supplies that you can ever find are right there at the Chess Store. There you go. So the websites and note include this is the conversationproject.com, which is our main website. Find them for more details on what we have going on. You see that thing going down the scroll. It's hopefully you still see links to everything we have there are there. Let's see if we can do this. Viola, I'm back. So this is conversationproject.com is our main website. Check it out for all the things got going on. Links to all our sponsors, which if you buy from them, it costs you nothing to help us out. Links to our partnerships page, which is real money out of your pocket, but helps us out. Links to all of the feedback and all of the replays of things we do for the Conversation Project. Things you might have heard, brought to you by More Better Media LLC, all that there and more. Now, the feeds live on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/This is the Conversation Project and Twitter.com/TH_conversation. If you follow us on Facebook and Twitter, you can see the stories. We post new stories every 50 minutes, so you can keep up to date with various stories. Some of them kind of important, some of them just sort of like, really? Really? Johnny Depp's going to be the face of Cologne again? Really? Sometimes like that. But you tell us whether the stories are conversational or not. Tuesday through Friday, we get about over 30 stories, 30 to 33 stories over a day based on those patches. And we take from the top 15 and choose 9. Now, here's how important this works. We are not talking about Serena Williams saying she's going to give up tennis after she's to the next tournament, because that was story number 16 in the list. So it didn't make the rundown. That was some nice news we could have got to, but instead we had all the other stuff. But we did have Popeyes and their new shrimp. So we have that. That's how important it is for you to engage with the stories and get the stories that you want to see in there. Engage in the feeds. On TikTok, the Conversation Project is where we are doing poorly in TikTok. And in fact, doing very poorly now. We started to focus on some things and put like the out of the door fact, and no one's jumping on that one. So I don't know what to do with that. We're working on that as well. Also, YouTube, you're probably watching us on the YouTube, maybe watch us on Facebook. If you want to make sure you get us 5 days a week and get notifications, follow us on YouTube, subscribe to us there, and hit notifications. We need more YouTube subscribers because that's working towards the goal of another source of monetization. More money we don't have to take from you to keep things on the air for us. You help us out by just going to YouTube. This is the Conversation Project, or the Conversation Project is our YouTube page, and you can just subscribe. And if you want to watch us on YouTube, hit notifications for that bell, your phone to buzz like mine does at 5:50 a.m. weekday mornings. August 10th birthdays include wishes going out to Rosanna Arquette, who's 63 years old, Antonio Banderas, 62 years old, and still doing the Antonio Banderas stuff. And Angie Harmon, who's 50 years old today, who I did not realize was quite that young, if you want to. But the main reason to bring up Angie Harmon, who don't get things done anything recently, although he had Rizzoli and Isles a few years ago on TNT, because it's essentially about 20 years since the engagement to her and Michael Seahorn, which is like, the whole, oh my God, around the world, and like 10 years since it got divorced, which is the sad part of it. But she got engaged. Seahorn proposed to her live on, I think it was the Tonight Show. I believe it was one of the chat shows. It was something that was before we had viral stuff, kiddies. It was what all the hosts, all the TV shows were showing as what was viral at the time, which is just your teaser clip of a newscast. So that was a big thing. Today is S'mores Day. Today is the day we celebrate s'mores, or you can celebrate s'mores. There are plenty of other things that were kind of in there to do. It's also Duran Duran Appreciation Day, which I definitely appreciate Duran Duran, but we wanted to go back to something that was a bit more tangible. No one can fight s'mores unless you, for some reason, allergic to chocolate or marshmallows. No one can fight a good s'more. Celebrate S'mores Day. Go out, get don't go and burn the house down. Just go get like a s'mores brand cookie, or just eat some marshmallows and chocolate together. Just go out there and live up s'mores life for a day. Trust me, you'll love it. Now, going out the door, one more thing to know you might not have known for the day. New York City Department of Sanitation has racked up over 45 million followers on TikTok. We can't do it, but maybe we can learn something from them. They are at NYC Sanitation, with googly-eyed posts about alternate side parking, snowplows, and misplaced trash bags. And a PSA against illegal dumping set to Mario Kart music went viral with more than 2 million views. So we're going to do our best to basically emulate and copy everything else. So we're going to start putting googly eyes on pretty much everything, I guess. We'll see how that works for our TikTok, but it works fairly well for the Department of Sanitation at New York City with 45,000 followers. And that one video itself getting 2 million views across the world. I don't think we're going to get that good. In the meantime, we're going to wrap things up for today. It is Wednesday. It is August the 10th. It is 2022. As I say these words, maybe it's not as you hear these words in the future, because the YouTube will save this forever. I am still Jay Cleveland Payne, and probably will still be that way in the future. Make sure you are doing the best you can to check out on your friends, good, bad, and indifferent, because we had stories today where people weren't checked up on, and you see the consequences. One more time, quick reminder: if you're in need, if you're in shock, if you don't know what to do, reach out to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-8255. Dial 988 on your cell phone for the new emergency services there. Find someone to talk to and talk to them. Talk to them. Guaranteed, a little talk can go a long way to fixing a lot of things. Guaranteed. Make sure you stay hydrated, stay limber, and stay on task, because we need you for all those great things. And let me know what you think about the fashion statement. We're trying to figure out what to do for this to kind of jazz up the set, whatever. Maybe you need to jazz up the jazz, if you will. And it turned into the sport coat didn't quite work, didn't quite fit the look. And so I just put on a shirt. Is it that simple? Does it work that well? Does it not work that well? You be the judge and let me know whether I should put on more clothing or maybe take off less. So here is, we is done. We are done. Thanks so much for joining us for this. And we had a little extra time, so I went ahead and vamped for a bit. We'll see you tomorrow. Already posting news stories for the day. So you let us know by engaging with the stories. Thank you so much, Josh, for stopping in, for checking up on me. And I'll be checking in on you pretty soon. And of course, Christina with a K, who popped in here there to make sure that things happen. Not sure what happened with the video for a second. Still having some wonky issues with our internet here in the studio. So hopefully I didn't lose everything. In the meantime, we'll see you again on a tomorrow.